Hey guys, today I'm bringing you all another Call of Duty mobile weapon review, and today's video is a little bit special. If you're like me and you didn't pay for the HBRa3 in the Lunar New Year event, there is now a way to test it out. I know the hype for this weapon is crazy. People online have been going off about telling Activision and Tencent to give us a free version, and I know quite a few YouTubers have put this as the best assault rifle for this season in their videos. So in today's video, I'll tell you guys just quickly how you can play with the gun for now, and as always, in every review video, I'll give you guys the stats, setup, and tips that I always do. I won't keep you waiting any longer though. Firstly, to be able to get the gun for now, you need to go to Reddit first. I'll link the post down below, but basically, there's a post with the link to an APK download. This APK file just contains a public test build for next season, so the developers do this every season, and we're in Season 5 now, so what they'll do is they'll release kind of like a test version of Season 6, so that'll have some of the new weapons and game modes and maps as well that players, or the first 20,000 players to get in, can test out. So for the HBRa3, you have to install the file and then play through the tutorial like you would in the normal game, and then once you've done all that, there should be a notification in your inbox, and in that notification will be a bunch of rewards that you can use in the test server, and one of them will be the HBRa3 Dragon Dance. So from there, you can equip it in your loadout and try it out in one of the new game modes. There's a lot of cool things that I want to show you guys in the test build, and I'll be doing that in another video, so please hit the like and subscribe if you want to see that. Now I'll get into the review for this gun. First up, let's have a look at some of the stats. I'll start with the damage and range as usual, but just in case you guys didn't know, the Dragon Dance skin, which is the only skin of this gun that exists right now, does have a range boost, so there's no, I guess, quote unquote normal version to compare to, so I'll just give you guys the stats from that version. So the HBRa3 is a 4-shot kill out to 17 meters, a 5-shot kill out to 28 meters, and then after that it does drop off to a 6 and 7-shot kill. This is a bit below average for assault rifles, but it does fire at 700 rounds a minute, which is quite good for assault rifles in this game, and overall that gives it a pretty good time to kill up until the end of that 5-shot kill range. Next up, I'll look at the recoil for this gun. The recoil kicks mainly up and not too much side to side, so it's comparable to something like the LK24. As you guys know, the LK24 is pretty controllable. Pretty much with the HBRa3, you just have to pull down. You don't have to worry too much about it jumping around on you, since that's more the side to side recoil that you're feeling there. Just to note that the foregrip doesn't really improve the recoil control that much on this gun, but I'll talk a bit more about that when I get to the class setup. Finally, for your handling stats, so for me that includes things like your movement speed, hipfire accuracy, and reload speed. They're all pretty much exactly in the middle for assault rifles, and that's probably on the better end of weapons overall in this game. The Call of Duty mobile assault rifles handle really well. Obviously the SMGs are a bit better, but other than that you're looking pretty good. So that's all for the stats. Now I'll have a quick look at how you should be playing with this gun and whether or not it's that viable. Now who am I kidding? Of course, if you've seen any of the hype online guys, you know that this is an amazing weapon, and most likely I agree with the sentiment that it's the best assault rifle this season. In terms of the absolute best gun in this game, that's probably more up to preference. A gun like the AKS-74U is also an excellent competitive choice. The HBRa3 is obviously also a contender though. You're pretty good up close, but that sort of 15 to 20 meter close to mid range where SMGs have started to fall off, if you use this gun at that range you will absolutely dominate. No other assault rifle can touch you there. Okay, maybe that's exaggerating a bit too much, but if you play around there, you've got the best weapon in the game for that range that's also very viable at a lot of other ranges. Even though the damage does fall off the further out you go, it still has pretty good recoil control. Yes, it will be beaten out by sniper rifles and better long range assault rifles, but it's a very well-rounded weapon that you can kind of play with however you want. With this gun, I would encourage a more sort of mobile and aggressive style of play, but that's my preference, and honestly you guys are free to do as you please. Finally, I'll have a look at the class setup for this weapon and how you can modify it to get the best out of it. For the optic, first up, I always run the red dot sight on this gun. The iron sight does give you a faster ADS time, and if you like that trade-off you can go for it, but I find the red dot sight to be a lot clearer, so I prefer it on this weapon specifically. I wouldn't really recommend the tac scope on this weapon. The HBRa3, as I've mentioned, is a close to medium range gun, and the tac scope is more for long range engagements. Next up, I've got Quick Draw. Quick Draw, as you guys know, I recommend on almost every single weapon. It's great because it lets you ADS faster and start shooting at the enemy faster and effectively kill them faster in pretty much all situations except for when you're hip firing, and that's pretty rare. I've got Extended Mag as well. Since this gun fires pretty fast, you'll need it for those double and triple kills to help you just clean up those groups of enemies and to just keep you alive if you don't have time to reload. Finally, instead of foregrip, which I normally would put on my assault rifles, I've got stock. The foregrip on this weapon, as I did mention earlier, doesn't really do that much for the recoil. You can test this out on your own, and if you feel like it's making a difference, you can use it, but I prefer to use stock on this weapon. It's more for that mobility, so you can play a bit more aggressively and you can strafe. Because the hipfire and reload time are already pretty good, you don't really need things like the laser sight and fast reload. FMJ I find is a little bit too situational, and because the range is already not amazing on this weapon, I don't really recommend suppressor. For the perks, in the red slot first I've got Agile on because the sprint out time is great for just all situations, but if you're going to play really aggressive you can use lightweight, or if you're going to play a bit more campy you can use flak jacket as well. As I said, this gun can be used pretty much however you want, so adapt your perks to fit your playstyle, but those are the ones I recommend. In the second slot, or the green slot, I've got toughness on, which reduces your flinch when the enemies are shooting at you, and that just really helps you edge out those really close gunfights and give you a bit of an advantage there. Finally, in the blue slot I've got Dead Silence. This is good for pretty much all your weapons except for the really campy ones. As I've said plenty of times, like sound gives you such a big advantage in this game, and if you can cut that off for the enemy, that's really good, so always recommend Dead Silence pretty much. And finally, for your lethal and tactical, I don't really have any special recommendations there, and I've got my usual combo of trip mine and smoke grenade, but you guys can use whatever you like. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys learned something and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, or if you're planning to get the HBRa3 for free from the test server, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'll be back with more. I'll see you guys in the next one.